Hey, this is Matt Cron. Thanks, Joey.
Okay.
Hey, can somebody help me out quick? How is it again to raise your hand? I don't have the option as the host. Do you click on participants first?
Bottom of the screen, all the way to the right. It says raise hand. Do you want me to do it?
Hold on one second.
Reactions.
All right, and then just real quick, just to test it out. Can everybody see my screen?
Yeah.
Can anybody see my screen?
I see the flag.
I see the
Yep.
flag.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Attorney Barranco, your webcam's on, just so you're aware.
Yep.
Okay.
Do you want,
Which you're welcome to do.
are you
You're
guys
welcome to do.
are you staying strictly audio?
Yeah, I want to save everybody from my face, but it's dealer's choice.
All right, I'll be cool with that.
Yes.
Stay
Yes.
on mute. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to go on mute for a couple minutes until we get started.
Can anybody hear me?
We hear somebody. Yes.
Yes, I hear somebody.
Okay, that's Jim Fisher. Just logging in. I didn't know how to use this thing.
Well, you got the job done.
Okay. Is there a
Thank
video
you.
with this?
We're not displaying anything right now. I can quickly share my screen so you could give it a try. We do have things to share later on. Can you see that flag on the screen?
I see the flag, yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Oops.
Do nothing. Just stay here until it gets started. They didn't put it up. Where are you going? I'm gonna wash it.
Jim Dino, you ended up sharing your screen somehow. All right, I'll just steal it back.
Hey, Matt, can you hear me right now?
I can
Joe.
hear somebody.
I can hear you,
Hey.
Joe.
All right, thank you.
All right. All right, so we do have a quorum. Yes, I hear somebody.
Yeah, I can't hear nothing.
We could hear you.
Yeah, I can hear
Okay.
you.
Give your-
Can you hear us now?
No, I tried putting it over my Bluetooth speaker. It won't come through.
But you could hear us when you disconnect the speaker?
No, I'm on my cell phone.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way that I usually do it anyway, is that I join the meeting on the computer just for the screen share and everything, but then I just dial into it. I don't know, you might have to change the output in order to get it connected to devices and such.
Yeah, I don't know how to do any of that stuff.
Yeah, we could play with it after this sometime, but Billy, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
and DeFrancisco as well? I guess he's not on audio yet. All right, it is 6 o'clock.
Yeah. Are we ready?
I'm ready if you are.
I'm ready.
Ready?
Okay, I'd like to call the March 26, 2020 meeting to order. If we could all please say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To
to the flag of the United
United
States
States
of America
and to
and to the republic
for which it
which
stands,
stands,
one nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible, with liberty
liberty
and
and justice for
justice
all.
for all.
Okay, and please keep in mind all those suffering with COVID-19 right now. And roll call again.
Lynn Flacco,
Here.
Joe Marmello,
Here,
Matt Crone,
Present.
Joe Palco,
Here,
Ken Farley, Shane Balliot,
Here.
Bill DeFrancisco,
here.
Okay, we have 6 present, 1 absent. We have the acceptance of the minutes. If everyone got a chance to read them, Leanne had sent them out. If you want to take a moment. If not, I'll entertain a motion whenever everyone's ready.
I'd make a motion.
I'll make the
to accept.
motion.
Motion by Joe Marmello. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Is that Bill?
It is.
Okay. Motion made by Mr. Marmello, second by Mr. DeFrancisco. All those in favor, aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, minutes are passed. Citizens petitions, do we have any? Any citizens petitions?
Remember to
Okay.
unmute if you're trying to speak.
This is the Fishers. We're good.
Okay, it sounds like none.
Leanne, you want to go on to the secretary and tax collector reports?
Yes. The general check deposits for February of 2020 is $42,402.79. EIT distribution, $62,403.63. There was no LST distribution, for a total general checking deposit of $104,806.42. I do need to make a correction. There was tax collector deposits received of $43,413.50. The general fund beginning balance, $11,845.24. General fund ending balance, $38,377.45. Garbage deposits, $45,436.68. Account balance for garbage, $60,736.10. Stormwater deposits, $26,667.08, with an account balance of $27,383.99. Liquid fuels account balance as of the end of February of 2020 was $97.98.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Leanne. Do we have a motion to accept the secretary and tax collector reports?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by
I'll-
Mr. Palco. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second, Mr. DeFrancisco. Roll call, Leanne.
Lynn Flacco,
Yes.
Joe Marmello,
Yes.
Matt Crone,
Yes.
Joe Palco,
Yes.
Shane Balliet,
Yes.
Bill DeFrancisco.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on to the payment of bills. If everybody could take a moment to review the bills.
There was one question I have on number 52, Leanne. It was for Trident Insurance for a police claim. What was that about?
The Trident insurance for the police claim, an incident happened in Whitehaven in
Yeah, it's
2017.
litigation.
Right.
It's a deductible for litigation.
Oh, okay.
It's for the insurance company. It's for our insurance company's deductible.
Okay, I didn't know
That's
nothing
correct.
about that.
So Joe, a lot of us had the same question, and we just got the answer, so I apologize for not passing that along. It's kind of one of those it is what it is situations
Okay.
for right now. I'd like to, if we could, go through this tab by tab. Well, actually, the motion that I would make, and everybody take your time, would be general fund, liquid fuels, garbage, and stormwater. I'm okay with all of those. I'd like to segregate out the previous billing into a separate discussion. So I'll make the motion for the general fund, liquid fuels, garbage, and stormwater, but please take your time to go through them. I'll just note, we didn't get the bills yet for the Pentella data for the borough building and for the police department, so those are recurring bills that we just don't have at this point in time. So that's why there's blank spaces on there.
Okay.
In New York. How many cases does New York have? And they just keep coming over here. I know.
Everyone, if you could please mute your phone if you're not talking. So I also just want to let everybody know the liquid fuels bills. So we got a delivery of rock salt during the month of February. We had to pay a bill in order to get this shipment, so this brings us current with American Rock Salt. Button Oil was a situation where we had to make a payment last month in order to get a delivery. This brings us current again. We had a few repairs, which was Keystone Fluid Power and Cook Brothers truck parts, and we got new brushes. And then we bought a load of anti-skid from Glen O'Habaker. So ironically, we got rock salt, we got anti-skid, and knock on wood, it looks like we might not end up using them. But we have them for right now. We're current with all these suppliers, and they'll still be okay for next year. We're a little bit ahead of our next winter. As far as garbage goes, that's our regular monthly payment for county waste. We're up to date with them after making some lump payments earlier in the year. Stormwater, those are our 2 recurring payments that happen every month.
Okay, so if no one has any questions, Matt made a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Palco. Roll call, Ian?
Sorry.
That's
Lynn
okay.
Flacco,
Yes.
Joe Marmello,
Yes.
Matt Crone,
Yes.
Joe Palco,
Yes.
Shane Valiant,
Yes.
Bill DeFrancisco.
Yes.
Okay. You want to go to the previous there, Matt?
Yeah, I'd like to go through the previous a little bit. So first one, Cougar Mountain, we have a call into them to check on our billing to see what's actually owed. They haven't been getting back to us, so I'd like to hold off on that one. Axon is kind of the same situation. That was for a police taser purchase from last year. I'm waiting for some documentation on it. Ironton was for the initial phone installation up at the Borough building. We got to pay these people. Energy Technologies was for some work that was done on the Borough building last year on the heating system. We have to pay them. Association of Boroughs, that's expected. Riley and Associates, we're waiting on some project documentation. This was all related to the event center, so I'd like to hold off on that one. Murphy Lumber has to get paid. American Computer has to get paid. They provide the internet service for the police department, and this is for our support for the 25 hours of block time. And the Barry Isid and Alfred Benish is stuff from last year for services rendered for building permits, as well as engineering on the various paving projects and such. So I'd like to make the motion to pay all of them except for Cougar Mountain, Axon, and Riley and Associates, because we're waiting for information from those 3.
Okay, motion by Matt. Anyone have a second?
I'll second it.
Or are there any questions? Yeah, okay.
Any questions? Okay, roll call, Ian?
Lynn Flacco,
Yes.
Joe Marmello,
Yes.
Matt Crone,
Yes.
Joe Palco,
Yes.
Shane Valiant,
Yes.
Bill DeFrancisco.
Yes.
Okay, very good. We'll take care of the bills. Is the mayor with us?
Yes, I have nothing at this time, Ellen.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on. Engineer. Is our engineer with us? Okay, we'll assume nothing at this time. Moving on to solicitor.
Very good. Council has before them this evening the emergency declaration resolution extending the previous declaration. If you want to take a formal motion vote at this point on that.
Yes, this would be to extend the initial declaration that the mayor proclaimed on the 16th, and that both of us had signed, and then we needed to extend it because that only lasted for 7 days. Does anyone
So
have any
this is going
questions
to,
before we enter?
no, I just want to clarify. So this is 30 days tacked onto the end of the original 7 days,
Correct.
which takes us to Wednesday, April 22nd.
Correct.
And I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion by Matt. Is there a second?
I'll
I'll
second.
second it.
Second by Joe Marmello. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good.
Okay, the next issue, Attorney Slusser and Attorney Stolt will be litigating the Michelesco arbitration. And one of our experts, and Gallagher, had circulated the resume and his fee proposal. And both Attorneys Slusser and Stolt request council's motion to approve retaining the services of Gerard for the purposes of the arbitration at the rate stated.
I just have one question for that attorney.
Yes.
Back, I'm not sure how many years ago, but I believe Officer Michelesco did work under Jerry Gallagher in Rush Township. Would that be a conflict of interest?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay.
Okay, is there a motion to that effect?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Crone, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Palco. Roll call on that, Leanne.
Lynn Flacco,
Yes.
Joe Marmello,
Yes.
Matt Crone,
Yes.
Joe Palco,
Yes.
Shane Balliet,
Yes.
Bill DeFrancisco.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, very good. Thank you. On the third item on the list for the solicitor is a motion to approve refiling relative to the getaway rental properties. I did speak with Ken Wenner on this matter. He asked that he and I agreed today that we would table this until next month. He wants to review the previous filings and previous documentation. And in fact, this property may have already been sold. So he's going to check into that for us. So I would suggest we table that till next month.
Okay, very good. Do I have a motion to table?
Yeah. Well, yeah, so I just had one question. So I'm confused as to whether it's just regarding the property that was sold or if it's other things. And there's also potentially other bills that are out there for those other properties. So if council and code enforcement and the solicitor's office could get together and figure out, what we think everything is out there, and then revisit it next month.
That'll be great.
So I'll make that motion, but I don't know if we have to table it since we never,
Well,
moved.
Actually, I have a question about this before we go through. The fact that it's if he owns getaway rentals and he sold one property, that we can't go after him because it's the entity that's still in existence, even though he sold the property.
We
Shouldn't they all be
cannot,
tied together?
we cannot go after him. The complaint pending or filed was against one property only, 628 Center Street. Now, they may still have ownership interests that are what I'll call problematic and subject to notice of violations. They're still free game. We could still pursue those. But this property at 628 Center Street was the one that I had requested consideration. Again, speaking with Ken, he wants to do a little bit more review before he makes his recommendation, since he'll be the gentleman testifying.
Okay, so I guess the answer to my question is, even though Getaway Properties is still in existence, we would have no kind of recourse, since that certain property, which the code enforcement things in, is no longer in existence.
Relative to that property alone, correct.
Okay.
Okay, so is there a second to the motion to table?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Palco. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
No opposed? Okay, motion carries. The Brittle subdivision.
Yes, Borough subdivision. I did receive Dominic's call last month. We tabled for Dominic's final review to make sure that county and county engineering and county planning's comments were adequately addressed in the revised plan. They were, but they did not address Dominic's comment regarding an agreement in place where a notation on the plan regarding the sharing of common utility maintenance, roof maintenance, et cetera, since it's I believe it's a double on this one. So-
Joe Flanagan, are you on?
Yeah, yeah. Did you get that letter? That's what they sent me yesterday.
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't get a chance to print it out, but
Okay.
I did see it. If you want to just reiterate to
Basically, they're renting that property. It's not for sale. So they're
Okay.
going to rent it, live on the other side. That's why they did it. The only common space is the basement is common, but other than that, everything's normal rental property.
Okay, so it's not shared utilities, not shared sewer line, water line?
No, it's all going to be shared. Correct.
Okay.
But it's going to be, they're not doing it to sell. They're doing it to rent. I don't know if that makes a difference.
I mean, as for future, if they're subdividing for a specific purpose, so there's going to be a bifurcation here into two lots, lot 1 and lot 2.
Correct.
So, the present intent may be to retain 100% ownership on both, but if they do sell in the future, we're going to have that gap where side lot 2 may not get along with side lot 1, and they're sharing these utilities.
Well, what do they need to do to do that? Just put it like an addendum on the sale?
What we normally do is do a notation on the plan.
Okay, that's fine. Listen, they approve them, call them tonight. That would be great.
Yeah, you could do a conditional approval. We won't sign any plans until Dennis does what he needs to do and with the applicants.
Perfect. But I can tell them they're good to go. They can start renting that out.
Yep. Yeah, as long as we have the conditional approval. But again, we cannot sign those plans until we get that.
Perfect. Lynn does have a copy of the letter, and I will tell him to give that to his surveyor.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, if council wants to move forward on that.
Okay, is there a motion for conditional approval of the Brito subdivision?
I'll make a motion.
Who is that?
It's Bill.
Motion by Mr. DeFrancisco. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Palco. Roll call, Ian.
Oops. Lynn Flacco,
Yes.
Joe Marmello,
Yes.
Matt Crone,
Yes.
Joe Palco,
Yes.
Shane Balliot,
Yes.
Bill DeFrancisco.
Yes.
Okay, very good.
But I
Sketch plan of a proposed minor subdivision. Plan. Now just keep in mind, everybody should be aware to move forward with any type of development or subdivision. They have to come back into us now with a preliminary and final plan, which will be subject to Dominic's review, county's review, and engineer's review, meaning Luzerne County engineer. So a sketch plan is just a conceptual thing. Are we in agreement with the concept? Yes. But they will have to come in for formal submissions now and go through the formal process.
Okay, so as of right now, we are complete on this issue.
Correct.
Okay, very good.
And that's it.
Anything else? That's all?
Yep.
Okay, moving on to committee reports. Check signers. We're going to amend the check signers. I believe it will be, if there is a motion to this effect, myself as the president, Joe Marmello as the vice president, and Mr. Crone as the president pro tem, if there's a motion to that effect.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Palco. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. DeFrancisco. All those in
I think
favor?
that was Shane,
It
actually.
was Shane,
Oh, was
yes.
it
I think that
Shane?
was
I'm
Shane.
sorry, Shane.
It's all right.
It's tough without a visual.
Oh, I know.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, very good. Leanne, if you could facilitate through email with the bank, being that they are not open at this time, they will email you the documents and we can individually sign them and we can get them back to them.
Okay.
Okay, and the next thing, the TAN loan. I know, Matt, you had some concerns on that?
Well, so no, I mean, I'd like to get the TAN loan paid as soon as possible. I reviewed some of the deposits and the balances with Leanne relative to the bills that we were paying for this month. So I'd like to make a motion that we pay $25,000 towards the $100,000 plus interest on the TAN loan to just start getting that process started.
Okay, very good. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any opposed? That as well. And do you feel, Leanne, that a transfer is the best way to handle that at this point? With the
Yes.
bank being closed?
Yes, Dan and Marilyn are there. They alternate days, but in the past, when I did call and say, hey, I want to make this payment, they did make the payment an automatic withdrawal out of the general fund, and then they automatically send me a receipt, which goes in the file.
Is everyone okay with that?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah, unless they don't want money. I'm okay with that too.
Okay, Matt? Anything
Yeah,
else? Go ahead.
no, I mean, I just wanted to add a few things. So one thing is that I wanted to stress to folks that there was a debit card relative only to the rec board account, which did not include any taxpayer money. It was all fundraised and donated money from years past. The borough hasn't put any money into that account in many, many moons. It was a debit card and it was canceled. So everything that comes out of rec right now for the foreseeable future will be through the normal check process. The only other thing that I wanted to add as far as past due bills go is that we're current with a lot of our vendors now that the streets department utilizes, especially so local businesses like Ballas's. Leanne, forgive me, Tunison's, did we get them taken care of last week?
Yes, we did.
Yep, Team Supply, Button Oil, Internet, UGI, telephone service. So we're starting to get out of our hole a little bit, and the financial picture should be a lot more clear for next month. So we should be able to get a report in April with March coming to an end on the first quarter of the year of how we are percent to plan, and if we have to amend the budget at all to reflect any kind of expenses that we didn't expect. So I won't say that we're current with all of our past due bills, but we're current with many of them. And thanks to Leanne for all her work to get to that point.
Very good. Anything else, Matt?
No, nothing for budget and finance. That's all.
Okay, moving on to police and safety.
Yep. So I believe March, 5 patrol the borough, 1 safe structure. The inspection, 5 notice of violations, 4 quality of life tickets, 1 magisterial hearing, 3 other inspections, 5 meetings, 4 complaints, and 4 office. And again, the office hours right now are Thursday 4 to 6. However, code enforcement and the zoning office, Mr. Flanagan, are closed along with the tax collector except for emergency cases, we'll send somebody out. So if there's a fire or anything like that, code enforcement will be on the scene. They will be patrolling. So, you know, keep your properties up to date, but we're trying to limit the contact with the public except in an emergency situation. The other thing for code enforcement is after last month's meeting, we put an advertisement in the paper for part-time code enforcement officer or officers, depending on the candidates that come in. We have a few resumes and we'd like to move forward in the early part of April with interviews, which will be held over the telephone. So it's kind of last call for anybody who's on the phone. If you're interested in applying to be a part-time code officer, please put that in the mail as soon as possible to PO Box 148, Freeland, PA 18224. And we're going to start the interview process, and maybe by next month's meeting, we'll be ready to hire. That's all I had for code. Any questions on code before I move into the EMA stuff? All right. So as everyone's probably aware by now, I know it was in the newspaper, we've been under a state of emergency. The state of emergency was signed by the mayor and the council president back on the 16th of the month, I believe. So what we did immediately is we set up this site, which I don't know who's seen it and who hasn't, but it's Freeland Borough Council Official.blogspot.com. So the old website's inaccessible. We wanted to do something as quickly and as inexpensive as possible, so we set up this site here. The articles have also been getting shared on Facebook, and some of them have been passed along to Mr. Dino from the Standard Speaker, so some of the information's gotten in there. So if you haven't looked at this site, please look at it. We have 10 articles up there. So it talks about the state police enforcing the closure of businesses, the meeting and the dial-in instructions for this meeting. Last Thursday, we had a meeting with council and emergency management, and a few members of the public to kind of go through the minutes of that, which I'll come back to in a second. If you'd like to send along your email or phone number, we had that notice posted up at the Borough Building. We got a few dozen addresses, which certainly is not representative of the entire community. We have a lot of local resource information, and I just want to click on this one for a second because this kind of covers everything. So this is Lehigh Valley's information related to coronavirus, unemployment compensation, career link, small business information. The state is making something called the Working Capital Access Program available to small businesses to get guaranteed loans. The school meals, as far as we know, are still being distributed at Freeland. 211 has a lot of human services information on it. The crisis text line, which is really mental health stuff, so you could text PA to 741-741, and links to online Alcoholics Anonymous meetings. So if anybody knows, I know the United Way is getting a program up and running, but if anybody knows of anything else that's out there that folks in need might need or be interested in, please pass it along to us so we can include it on there. We had the original declaration of disaster emergency. We'll put the updated one on. It's been extended again until Wednesday, April 22nd. Emergency Management Coordinator Wilson Malloy provided some guidance early on in the process that came from the Department of Health and the CDC. The park closure was announced on here, and the Borough Building closure, which will be extended. And we're going to update the message on the phone. We're going to update the signs on the building, and we'll update the page on here. But the Borough Building remains closed until 4/22. Continue to mail in all your payments. So that's everything: garbage bills, stormwater bills, tax collector, any kind of parking fine or anything like that. Continue to operate by mail until further notice. So,
Matt, you there? Matt?
I lost
Matt, you
you.
there?
Matt?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
man.
Okay.
I think he's gone again.
Yeah, Matt?
How about now?
Yes.
Now I can hear you.
All right, I'm sorry for that. So compliance has been very good. We only had to chase one person away from the Delacrosse field. Everybody's been very good about the park as well as the fourth ward.
You're not on.
You guys can still hear me, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. The fourth ward's been good. The park's been good. We did put the police tape up. We had to fix the police tape one time. The businesses have been pretty good about everything. So hopefully it stays that way. The situation hasn't changed dramatically, even if Luzerne County is in line for the next stay-at-home order. But I don't really think that necessarily changes anything from how we've been operating, or at least I'd like to think so. Lynn and I participated in a conference call with representatives from Hazelton, West Hazelton, Hazel Township, Butler Township, Sugarloaf, Hazelton Area School District, Lehigh Valley Hospital, United Way. Mr. Dino from the Standard Speaker was there. And a lot of places were doing the same things that we were doing for the most part. Maybe we just did them a little bit earlier, which is just a statement of fact. It's not, judgment on how they're doing things. Everybody does things the best they can. The only idea that we came up with coming out of that meeting was to translate all of our posts and all of our messages and signs into Spanish, just to make sure that, we do have a changing population in town, and we just want to make sure that we're communicating the information to as many people as possible in order to keep everybody safe. So any questions from the EMA side, or any input EMA specific from Chief Stepanski, or I don't know if Wilson got a chance to join, or any questions from the public?
Matt, it's Wilson.
Go ahead, Wilson.
Yes.
Everything's been going great. The community, the support, everything has been phenomenal. As of today, as everybody knows, the numbers just keep going up. The confirmed cases of the COVID-19 statewide, there's 1,687. The numbers in Luzerne County is 36, and unfortunately one passed away. We still expect those numbers to rise even more. They may enact a shelter in place as the numbers rise, but like you said, nothing's really changed from what our community is doing. And I commend all the department heads, Borough Council, for everybody's cooperation during this massive incident. One more item was PEMA did send out a thing about reimbursement for any expenses. I have that set up with them right now. And as we go through, as I talk to all the department heads, just keep your receipts, get them to me on a weekly basis. This way, if it's related to the incident, I can add it in as an expense on our part, and hopefully we can get reimbursed. We're not saying we're going to get 100% reimbursement, but we may get something back out of whatever we spend towards the incident. And that's all I got.
Thank you for everything, Wilson. Matt, if I could just add, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to say our expenses have been minimal, but with that said, our departments are looking for, unfortunately, the same things that a lot of hospitals and other departments are looking for. So N95 masks, hand sanitizer, which I think there's actually a few distilleries that have switched over to hand sanitizer, and these Medi wipes, which are antibacterial, I guess, but they're for use on people, so they're different from Clorox wipes. So I know that the state has been receiving from stockpiles from the federal level, and hopefully those will trickle down to us. But if anybody hears of anything, and we're not looking for donations or anything like that, and actually it's not even a money issue, it's a supply issue. But if anybody hears of anything that local departments are able to reach out, please pass it along to us so we can follow up on that. We're not in a desperate situation yet, but we don't want to get to that point either. And that's all I had.
I just want to add under that, Matt, just in kind of in line with that and or budget 27th session. That was to do with public safety with our EMA crisis. And again, on March 15th, we had another executive for personnel, just so everyone's aware, and if that could be reflected in the minutes. And with that,
Okay.
we go to streets and sanitation.
Wait, I'd like to add something.
Sure.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, so as of March 13th, Trump has declared a national state of emergency. So every state will be eligible through FEMA with an F, disaster relief. Now, it doesn't mean that Pennsylvania is going to apply. They should. There's a lot of caveats to this, but in a nutshell, what I'd like to get out there is for Wilson and any other person who's doing anything voluntarily, we need to keep those hours written down. If we do get reimbursed for anything, if it goes through and we can manage to do it, we will get 75% reimbursement and then 25. Now this isn't for volunteer stuff. This is for a disaster, something like, let's just use a building blowing over, for instance. If they were going to help us fix our building, we'd get 75% of it and we'd have to come up with the other 25%. However, our volunteer hours can deduct from that 25%. So there's a possibility that we'd have 25% worth of volunteer hours and have to pay nothing and get everything reimbursed. So I want to stress for Wilson and anybody else doing anything voluntarily to please keep your hours just in case it goes through. We may be able to get some reimbursement for some of this stuff through FEMA with an F. That's it.
Very good. Anything else under EMA? Okay, streets and sanitation.
Yeah, and I'm going to handle John's report for him. So they've been out when they get a nice day using the street sweeper here and there. We are going to plan to schedule the formal street sweeping, which is hopefully going to be every street in town. We're planning for Monday, April 13th, as long as the weather holds out. If the weather holds out, then obviously we would have to re-advertise the schedule, and we would push it out to Monday, April 27th. Keep an eye out. We'll make sure we get that in the newspaper when we get the schedule finalized. As far as the streets go, we were planning to get started on filling some potholes, but the asphalt plant out in Eckley is closed. I guess they were considered to be non-essential when the order came down last week. So everybody's in the same situation as us, that we're not going to be able to get any hot asphalt. So we're going to try to come up with some solution when we find the larger potholes, whether it's putting dirt down in it and going over it with the roller. But everybody's just going to have to bear with us and understand that this is not a normal year. And, please just drive slowly. And as soon as things get up and running, we'll get up and running on that. The third thing is early next week, if it's nice out, the plan is to go down to the park, the pavilion. It was noticed when the lights were being put up for Christmas that there's quite a bit of leaves up in the gutters up there. So the bucket truck is the way to do that. So as long as the weather's nice, that's what's going to happen this week upcoming. So does anybody have any questions for streets and sanitation? Not that I can necessarily answer them. The other thing they're working on, I forgot, is we got those new signs in with the reflective material, and they got a lot of them up last year. They're going to continue to work on those when they get nice days to try to get that job done. And then after we get done with the street sweeping and we're heading into May and we're confident the weather's squared away, we'll be putting the Hometown Heroes banners back up on the poles. So those guys are keeping busy down there.
Very good. Okay, fire, light, and water. Joey, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. 20 incidents for the month of February, 11 hours in service. Training for the month of January and February was 111 hours, and year-to-date was 111 hours. And unfortunately, with the crisis, all of our training in-house, state, or other stations have been canceled per the Fire Academy. So everything's on hold right now. Once everything's lifted, we'll resume our training on a weekly basis, monthly basis as scheduled. One thing I just want to connect with the street department is, as weather permitting and people are able to at least get out a little bit, we'd like to work with John and Lauren on washing the sidewalks like we always do through the business district.
Very good.
And that's all I got for tonight. Just thanks to everybody through this crisis. Everybody's working well together. And the biggest thing I want to say is thank you to the community for their support during all of this too. They're making our jobs a little easier.
Very good. Thank you. And your hoagie sale is canceled for the end of the month, correct?
Yep.
For Sunday.
Our this month's hoagie sale is canceled. We're going to continue to advertise for the chicken barbecue until the last day that we can, if we have to cancel that. But that'll be all addressed Facebook page or newspaper.
Very good.
Yeah, and I just wanted to stress the fire station is also off limits to the public, much like the borough building, until further notice. So I posted it somewhere what the non-emergency number was. But if you have a question for the fire department, please call the 636 number. I'm sorry, Joey, can you help me out with that? I guess it's not in the post that I'm looking at right now.
The fire station non-emergent number is 570-636-3244. And in the event there isn't an answer and you need to speak to a fire department person, dial 911. They will address it as a non-emergent issue. So, you know, worst case scenario, don't be afraid to do that.
Yep.
Okay, anything
All
else?
right, great. Thanks,
Fire?
Chief.
Anything else?
Joey, it's
Yes.
Leanne. Can you repeat that number again, please? I'm sorry.
570-636-3244.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And that's all I got, Lynn.
Thank you very much. Okay, buildings and grounds. Matt, you want to take that one?
Oh, yeah, sure. So we're just extending the closure of the borough building and all the parks. So that includes the Fourth Ward, the Delacroix Field, and the park on Front Street to coincide with our extended state of emergency, which now goes to Wednesday, April 22nd, and it is potentially subject to another extension. So it's basically everything's closed down until further notice. Continue to use mail for all your payments. It's P.O. Box 148. And that's about all that we have for buildings and grounds.
Anybody else have any questions or anything to add? Okay, ambulance report.
I have
Yes.
not received.
I have the report here.
Okay.
February 2020 calls, there was 41 911 dispatch calls, 24 transports, 6 no EMS needed, 4 assist the fire department, 5 were canceled, 1 lift assistance to the public, and 1 missed call in town.
Okay, very good. Any questions?
Yeah, Wilson, how are we looking on PPE for the ambulance? I've heard some rumors that I mean, obviously one's got a shortage right now, but I heard some rumors that even as far back as a few weeks ago, there were some reluctance to purchase new PPE, and I'm just making sure that we have that covered.
The ambulance, I also sit as the infection control officer for the ambulance.
Mm-hmm.
The ambulance is well outfitted with what they need for any current condition that comes across.
Okay, how many
EMS?
How many masks do we have?
I'm not going to disclose that. Nobody needs to know.
It's arguable that council members should know that.
Well, I can discuss that in private. I don't want to make it public.
Okay.
Okay, anything else? All right, moving on to Parks and Recreation. Shane, do you have anything there?
I can't have anything for that.
Not from the rec board? I mean, you don't?
We haven't had a meeting. Our meeting was canceled and due to the coronavirus. It hasn't been announced to the public yet, but I think it's fair game at this point to say that that Easter, as of right now, we won't be holding the Easter event.
Right. We basically, our parks are closed, so that would
Yeah.
need to be
Yeah.
canceled. So there's no Easter egg hunt. And as Matt reiterated under buildings and grounds, the parks and fields are going to remain closed at least through the April 22nd closure. If we need to readdress it, we will. And as far as the recreation committee at this point, currently, I'm going to sit on that committee with Mr. DeFrancisco, and we'll move on from there. Is there anything else for Parks and Recreation? Okay. Acceptance of committee reports.
I'll make a motion to accept them.
Okay. Motion by Mr. DeFrancisco. Is there a second?
I'll make a second.
Second by Shane. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries. Resolutions and ordinances, we took care of that under solicitor. Opening of bids, we don't have any. Is there any unfinished business anyone has?
Yeah, Lynn, I mean, obviously we're gonna have to discuss the legal matters pertaining to the council member. I don't know if we want to do that in a executive session or if we want to do that openly.
Not at this point, we can't do it openly. But duly noted, we will take care of that. Anything else under unfinished? Okay, new business. Chamber of Commerce road closure. I don't know if Leanne wants to address this. You received the letter, Leanne, correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
The Chamber of Commerce is basically asking to close the streets from May 23rd to May 25th. Front Street from Pine Street to Burbick. Sable Street from Front Street to Main. Saturday, May 23rd will be their car show. Sunday, May 24th and the 25th is the celebration at the park. They're asking council to make a motion to approve the street closure.
Yeah, so this is Matt. So I have some questions. When we say from Pine Street to Burbick Street, does that mean that people could still come down Front Street, turn onto Pine Street, and they could come up Pine Street and make a right-hand turn onto Front Street, which is the way that I'd like to see it go? And then my next question has to do with, do we need to keep these barricades in place overnight? And is that appropriate to do, given the fact that Front Street turning onto Burbick is a state road? I know it's a logistical nightmare to have the streets guys coming and going with the barricades every morning and every night, but, and then the third and final thing is if we give approval on this, I think it should be conditional. Hopefully by May 23rd, everything will be returning to normal, but there just doesn't seem to be any guarantees at this point.
So Matt, so I was on the I help out with Memorial Day, and I was on the chamber previously. What usually happens is, yes, it does. The barricade would stop at Pine Street, for instance, and then allow traffic to go through from there. As far as the barricades go, they're not kept up overnight. They're usually we usually take them off to the side, leave them within the park. We could take them back up to the streets department. That wouldn't be an issue. But usually they're just taken off the road and put off to the side.
Yeah, all that sounds good to me. Thank you.
Well, also in lieu of the crazy people in the world, I would like to suggest maybe parking the codes car at Pine in front. I know oftentimes that the fire department puts something there, but they can't be there all day, or the ambulance. But I think it'd be better maybe having a car there, just because it would. I mean, obviously, a wooden barricade's not going to stop somebody from driving through there. So just a suggestion.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. We might be able to park the dump trucks there or something like that. But again, then those guys have to come and go during the day. So, but I am in favor of that idea conceptually.
Matt, can I add something, Fire Chief?
Yeah.
Just, we have to remember to keep a fire lane there in case of apparatus needs to access any of those properties.
Okay. And they've been pretty good about that in the past, right?
All the time, they're very good about that.
Yep. Okay.
I would just
Good
like
call.
to add also, just in line with how we have been operating, just to request that we have Freeland Borough covered under the insurance from those two organizations. It is two organizations, just to be clear here. The car show is the Masons and the chamber is the rest of the days.
I assume you're referring to adding us as additional insureds on there.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
Okay. All right, any
And
other-
then the last thing, I guess, sorry, this is so complex for such a simple thing, right? Who's handling the request to close the road with PennDOT?
that would be the borough. That would be Leanne would have to send a letter requesting it based
Okay.
on our approval. Because no one else could do it besides the municipality.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That being said, is there a motion to approve the request from the Chamber of Commerce for the road closure May 23rd to May 25th?
I'll make the motion.
Conditionally,
On,
on that we actually get back to normal by then. As Matt suggested.
Okay.
okay, you accept that condition?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Second by Mr. DeFrancisco. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, very good, Leanne. If you could get a letter out to PennDOT.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, anyone else have anything to add before we go to public input?
Lynn,
Yes.
don't forget about the letter from the Arbutus Lodge about the car show.
That was
Do you
all the
have
same.
that letter?
That was
No.
all the same closure.
You gotta be careful of the second paragraph. They're asking to do burnouts.
I believe.
The
Kevin
answer
said that
remains
was
no.
Yeah,
absolutely
there's no burn.
Yeah, we don't do that anymore.
With that,
Okay.
with burnouts are allowed with insurance, but it's virtually impossible to get the insurance for the burnout
Correct.
competitions.
Yeah.
So everyone's good with that,
Yes.
the way
Yes.
it stands? Okay.
Yes.
All right, very good. Anything else? Okay, back to public input.
Lynn, Bill Koglis.
Yes.
A couple short questions.
Sure.
One question I have is on the Easter egg hunt, all the businesses that donated, are they going to get refunded, or what are you guys going to do with that money?
Leanne, have you received payment?
I have received 3 donations in regards to the Easter egg hunt. Their checks have not been cashed, nor they have been deposited. I do have them in the office with council letting me know how to go about this. I will send the
Okay.
checks back.
Yeah,
Well-
I think we should get in touch with them and tell them that we're planning to write void on them and put them in the mail to them. That's my suggestion.
And unfortunately, we do have to say that, and our police chief has brought this up also, that in light of the recent events that happened in the borough, we need to ask that if anybody did make any payments in cash or any direct payments to anyone, please come forward and let us know about that, because it's just something we have to follow through with this at this time.
Okay, thank you. I have 2 other questions, Lynn.
Sure.
The second question is the borough audit. How far are you guys with the 2018 and 2019 audit?
They have, as far as I know, everything they need. Leanne, have you received anything since?
I have not received any requests for any more information.
Okay, nor have I. That's also a very good question. Just to keep everyone up to date on that, we have also had someone else come into the office to assist Leanne that's independent of the auditors to kind of get everything caught up. So we are moving forward, but they also are now fall under this unfortunate closure of businesses. And so even my communications with them have kind of slowed, but we are in touch with that. It is ongoing. They did come in, we met with them, Budget and Finance Committee sat down with them, and we did have a very productive meeting, I believe. They're in the process of putting in additional internal controls, so we are moving forward with it.
Okay. Last comment I have is you guys are doing a fantastic job. Everybody, all your departments, I can't say anything wrong. You guys are doing an excellent job with the situation that's going on.
Thank you very much, and that's a lot to do with the fire as well, so thank you.
Well, we try. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else under public comment?
Lynn, I'd just like to say, this is Matt, I'd just like to say one thing. I was on the phone again this week with County Waste earlier today. They seem to not, they are saying that they're having call outs on their side, mostly related to childcare issues.
Okay.
So we had a substitute driver a few times over the last few weeks. They missed Ingham Street for a second week, so, but I believe they cleared the issue up today. And they might have actually missed another street earlier in the week, but the borough did not receive any kind of formal notification from anybody about any of that.
Okay.
So I don't know how true it is or not. So if you have issues with your garbage collection, please go through the borough. We're trying to track these sorts of things, and we're trying to have all the communications go through one channel. And hopefully everybody's recycling and garbage was picked up as of late today.
Okay, very good. Anyone else have anything? Nope. Going once, twice. Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the
that
motion.
motion.
Okay, who was that?
Do that again.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, very good, Mr. Palco. All right, all those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you all for your patience. This was a very good test for all of us, and I appreciate everyone's cooperation. Thank you.
Yeah, take care, everybody. Be safe.